Hello guys, welcome to my channel Tech Bulletin Prime. I am Rajnikant. In today's video we're gonna see a multi-threading concept called thread pool and how we'll execute some task using thread pool. Right? So let's start. So in lot of time in some interview we'll get the questions like where you are using multi-threading in your project, how you are using multi-threading in your project, right? So in this video you will get a clear picture, so how you are using and where you are using, right? So let's begin. So the concept thread pool, right? So what do you mean by thread pool? If you are coming from J2EE background, then we all have come across connection pooling, right? So connection pooling means what? A pool of connection, right? Which will contain lot of connection in that connection pool, right? Which is maintained by J2EE container. So whenever we want any connection, we'll get the connection from that connection pool and we'll use that one, right? So exactly like this thread pool. So thread pool means it's a pool of thread. So in that pool, some numbers of thread will be there. So whenever we want a thread to perform anything, just we need to give our task to that thread pool. And from that thread pool, some thread will execute our task, right? So thread pool means nothing. It's a pool of thread which contains some number of threads, right? So in Java, how we can create a thread? We need to create a thread. We need to maintain that life cycle. We need to do everything, right? If you want to manage a thread. So instead of we creating a thread, it's better we'll use that thread pool, right? So that pool itself will manage everything. We don't need to manage that those stops, right? So in Java, some classes interfaces are provided by which we can create a thread pool and we can submit our task to that thread pool. So from that thread pool, one thread will execute our task. So we can see executor service one is an interface, and its implementations are abstract executor service, fork join pool, scheduled thread pool executor, thread pool executor. So this is executor service and interface, and it has some implementation classes are here, right? And executors, some another class is there, executors. So we'll use these interfaces and classes to create a thread pool and submit our task to the thread pool, right? So let's see what is that, how that program will write. So how you can create a thread pool? That executors class is there, right? So that executors class contain different factory method, right? So here new fixed thread pool, one factory method, this is a factory method. So different factory methods are there to create a thread pool, right? So let me move to the documentation folder, documentation site. So you can see this is the executors class. And here you can find lot of factory methods: new fixed thread pool, new fixed thread pool, new scheduled thread pool, new scheduled thread pool, new single thread executor. So lot of factory methods are there which will create a thread pool and it will return that particular object, right? So this syntax will create a thread pool. Then after creating thread pool, we need to submit our task to that thread pool, right? So that from that thread pool, some particular thread will run our task, right? So how we'll submit this executor? This executor indicates it's a thread pool, right? Executor dot submit. This one submit method is there. Lot of overloaded submit methods are there to perform this submit of the task. So executor dot submit, and the parameter is callable object. So if you want to see this implementation, so executor service is a interface. Let's see those methods. You can see submit. It will take a callable object. Submit runnable object. Submit runnable task and some result. Right? So let's see. And invoke all different methods are present here. So here we'll submit our task through this callable object, right? And after submitting, what will happen? The thread pool, it will take this object and some thread, it will execute our task and it will return a future object, right? So it will return a future object, right? And after executing our task, so how to get the result? We can perform, I mean on this future object, we can perform get method to get that particular result, right? So this is that whole 3-step process. So first we need to create a thread pool. Next we need to submit our task. Third step, we'll fetch the result, right? So I have already developed a sample code. Let me explain that code. I can write that live code in this video, but it will take a lot of time. I mean, at least that video will be extended some minutes of time. So I don't want to waste time. So let's see that video direct. I mean, see that code directly, whatever I have developed. Okay. So this is the sample program. So what exactly this program is? In one folder, I have 3 files is there. In one folder, I have 3 text file is there. So my requirement is just I want to copy those 3 text files to other location, right? So I want to copy those text file to some other location. So here how I have implemented that threading concept. So each file will be copied by a thread, right? So 3 threads it simultaneously will copy those 3 files to other location, right? So here is one method I have written. This is that class task executor, and here I have written a method called execute, right? So in that execute method, it will take that list of file names I want to copy. List of file names it will take, and after that one, here you can see the syntax. Executor service executor equal to executors dot new fixed thread pool of 3. So it will create a thread pool of 3 thread, right? So this is the reference of that thread pool. Then what I am doing here, I am creating one list of future object. List of future. Why I am creating this one? So after submitting that, after submitting that task, whatever that response I got from that one, so I will store that responses to this list, right? So here that file, that list of files I have received. Then here I am iterating using for each loop one single files, right? So here am executor.submit. So I am submitting my task to executor, sorry, to the thread pool, right? So this 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 contain this entire thing is a callable object. So here I am passing a lambda expression, right? So in functional interfaces, instead of creating object, I mean implementing that functional interface and creating an object, then we need to pass that object. But instead, directly I'm passing some lambda expression here, right? So here that file writing logic is there, right? So here, suppose I have 3 files. So first file I will get, then I will submit it here in the form of callable object, right? So here I am reading that file, and all those file reading writing logics are here. So we don't need to worry about these things. Then after it's got completed, I'm returning that result, right? So we'll receive this result here as a future object, and this future object I am storing into this result list, right? Because we have 3 files, right? So for these 3 files we'll receive 3 outputs, right? 3 results will receive. So after receiving these results, I am storing into this list, right? And then I am returning this that list from this method, right? So here we will get list of future objects, right? So here is the main method from where we will execute this code. This is not required. Okay, so here, so first what I am doing, task executor, sorry, I am preparing a list, right? That 3 files list I am preparing. So you can see here that source location is there and destination folder is there, right? So in source location I have 3 files: angular.txt, git.txt, node.txt, right? So I am preparing a list which contain these 3 file names, right? And this list I am passing to this execute method, right? So in the task executor, so in this class I am passing to this method, right? So this file I am passing. So as I have already explained this one, after receiving these files, it will execute this method, and from here it will return the list of future object, right? List of future object. So here I am receiving the list of future object, right? So after receiving the list of future object, I am iterating that one. So I will get a future object, and from this future object I am getting that value. rs.get means, sorry, future object.get means it will return that actual result. So this is all about the code. That your actual implementation logic, whatever you want to perform through thread, you need to put it in that submit method as a callable object, right? So suppose here for 3 operations I have same copy, copy operation, right? Those 3 files I want to copy, so it is okay, we can pass like this. But suppose you want to perform different things. Suppose one thread you want to perform some third party API calling. One is for copy operation and another is for some other operation. So that time how you can do like this. First you need to create a set of or list of callable objects, right? You need to create a list or set. Then on this set or list you can add that each callable object, right? Suppose one callable object for calling the third party API. So you can create this callable object, and you can add to that list or set. And another one, suppose the second task you want to copy some files, so create a callable object and add to that collection. Collection means either set or list. Suppose third one, some other operation you want to do, so create a callable object and add to that set or list. And finally, instead of submit, you can execute like this: executor service dot invoke all of that list or set, right? So here you can perform different operations, right? So these are the two different ways we can perform. So let me run this project. So you can see this source location, 3 files are there: angular.txt, git.txt, node.txt. Destination folder is empty, there will be no file, right? So let me run this program, right? So it's completed. Let's see. Let me refresh this project, right? So you can see, right, in destination folder 3 files got copied, right? So this is performed by 3 threads. Okay, so let me push this project or coding to this my GitHub repo, so that if you want directly you can access from that one. So let me go to this project folder. I'm moving to this project folder. Let me open git bash here. Git init to initialize this project as a git project. Initialized. Okay, you can see git folder. Let me create a file .gitignore file .gitignore. Sorry, it's taking as a text file. Let me save as. Okay, so what are the things we need to? I'm taking this file's name so that we can exclude those things. Class path project. I'm not renaming, I'm taking those files name. /bin. Let me save this one as .gitignore. Okay, I have saved. Let me delete this one .txt file. Okay, so again let me go to git bash, git starters. You can see this is ignored, right? Sorry, I mean only these two things we need to add. So git add dot git starters, right? These are the files where it will commit. So let git commits ummit -m added multi-threading code. Let's commit. Okay, I have done commit. So now we need to push. So before push, we need to create a repository for this, right? A remote repository. So let me create a remote repository. This is my GitHub account. Let's go to repository. Let's create a new repository. Multi-threading, THREADANG, multi-threading executors example. So let me create this repo. Yep, we have done. Then we'll add origin, add remote repository to that local one. Copied. Added. Let me post now. Okay, successfully it got posted. So let's check our repo. Okay, here we go. Okay, so this is that URL, that GitHub URL. So I will paste that GitHub link URL to this video description so that you can collect this example. So hope this video will be helpful to you people. Please, if you have any questions or any doubts, you can post your question in the comment box. Thank you.